Star Wars The Book of Boba Fett Season 1 Episode 1 Stranger in a Strange Land has finally been released, kicking off the story which will give us a glimpse into the life of Boba Fett, both in the past and the present. The show will look at all of the major moments of his life as flashbacks, as well as his struggle in the present to tame an unwieldy criminal syndicate, which will compete for galactic dominance of the underworld. So let's break down everything that went down in the episode and how it connects to the other Star Wars books, comics and TV shows. And before we dive in, make sure you drop your episode rating out of 10 in the comments and subscribe for a whole lot more Book of Boba Fett content throughout the show. The first major connection and hint at the future to break down is the title theme composed by Ludwig Göransson. The theme is definitely very different from most others we've heard in Star Wars, but this one gives us a little hint at who will serve as the main rival for Boba Fett's crime syndicate. If you listen about halfway through the Boba Fett title track, you can hear the exact same motif that appears in the Crimson Dawn theme from Solo: A Star Wars Story. And I'll play that for you now. This probably hints that Crimson Dawn will be the main threat to Boba, and possibly even points to Qi'ra making a return to face him down. So with the title theme out of the way, the episode begins right out of the gates with Boba Fett fresh out of the Sarlacc pit, and inside of a medical bacta tank to heal his harsh wounds. Inside the tank, Boba Fett is in a deep trance which whirls him through a flurry of traumatic flashbacks, covering his time on Kamino with the Slave One parked nearby, then moves on to flashbacks from his time at the Geonosis Arena. This footage is a mirror of the Star Wars Episode 2 scene only moments after Boba Fett's father Jango has his head sliced off by Mace Windu. Although this footage is actually refilmed and remade specifically for this series, with some very slight modifications. This could tell us that we're going to get many more flashbacks with this young Boba, considering they went to all of the effort to refilm it. In the background we can of course see the B1 and B2 battle droid remnants from the Jedi's fierce arena battle. This is the battle that actually kicked off the Clone Wars and sent the galaxy into a downward spiral, which eventually led to its fall. Boba then continues having horrific flashbacks, including holding Jango's helmet, which does play a huge role in the 2008 Clone Wars series. After that, we get to see Boba Fett's horrible experience inside of the belly of the Sarlacc, covered in the vicious acid, which would keep him alive and sustained for millennia stuck there. That is, if he had the same fate as that stormtrooper. Boba Fett then cleverly uses the internal breathing tubes of that unlucky stormtrooper who also died in the Sarlacc pit, and then manages to use his Mandalorian flamethrower to blast his way out and dig up to the surface. This is very slightly different to the Legends explanation for how he escaped the Sarlacc, where he tricked the Sarlacc into constricting around his jetpack and causing it to explode, and giving him away directly out of the mouth. He was then rescued by Dengar, who has a very long history with Boba Fett. In this version, he was of course saved by Jawas and then Tuskens and then digs out from the side, but it's still awesome to see nevertheless, and it's not too far off from the original explanation. After managing to save his life and escape the huge beast, Boba is eventually found and completely scavenged by the nearby Jawas, who strip him of his armor and leave him for dead on the sands of Tatooine. This is actually a huge connection to the Star Wars Aftermath novels, where Cobb Vanth eventually finds a mysterious set of Mandalorian-looking armor inside of a sandcrawler, which we now know was actually Boba's. This was of course later covered by The Mandalorian, but for a long time after Aftermath came out, it was a huge mystery. Following this, Boba is left lying in the sand for a very long time before he is eventually found by a clan of black-robed Tusken Raiders, who check to see if he's alright, then give him a bit of a medical drink, which seems to wake him up. He is then taken as a sort of prisoner and delivered back to their camp, in a single file of course, to conceal their numbers, just like Obi-Wan told Luke in A New Hope. Once at the camp, he finds that he's not alone, and that there is another Rodian prisoner with him, both being guarded by the tribe's spiny-backed Massif, which were first seen in Attack of the Clones, but later showed up in The Mandalorian, Clone Wars and The Bad Batch. Boba Fett then awakens the Massif and knocks it out before using its teeth to escape. Sadly, he can't help his fellow Rodian prisoner, but he's got bigger problems at this point. The clan has chased him down and challenges him to a duel to prove his worth. Following that, Boba is snapped out of his traumatic flashbacks by Fennec Shand, who tells him that the Crime Lords are here ready to greet them. Boba's healing room is serviced by a fleet of really cool rolling droids. Back on his new throne, Boba is greeted by one of his underlings, and behind him is the Smelter Droid 88, which we see torturing a Gonk droid in Return of the Jedi. That's a nice little appearance back for him, although this one has always been one of the creepier ones for me. As this is happening, in comes one of Boba's old bosses, a Trandoshan, and he brings the hide of a Wookiee as a tribute. This is an awesome throwback to the Trandoshan tradition known as the Bloodletting, where a young Trandoshan is sent by his clan to kidnap and steal a Wookiee before torturing and killing it as a rite of passage. Most young Trandoshans participated in this tradition, so Wookiees were very terrified. Following this, the slimy underling of the Mayor of Mos Espa arrives, and instead of paying tribute to Lord Fett like the rest of his people, this Twi'lek asks for the opposite. He's just lucky Boba intends to rule with respect. And for those of you who don't know, this man holds the rank of Major Domo, which pretty much means second in command among the criminal syndicates and the dodgier parts of the galaxy like Tatooine. Now, we do already know who the mayor of Mos Espa is, which is the Ithorian from the trailers, voiced by Robert Rodriguez himself, so we'll likely get a good look at him in the next episode. After pardoning the two Gamorrean guards who were previously loyal to Jabba and Bib Fortuna, Boba Fett enters the main townscape, and once he arrives you can see two dog-like droids. These are actually using the Spot robots created by Boston Dynamics, and I'm sure you've seen their crazy videos. Moving into the Mos Espa Cantina, we get an awesome look at Max Rebo, and one of the members of the Cantina band from A New Hope. This cantina is clearly more lavish than the one in Mos Eisley, filled with rich gamblers and elites. Interestingly, the music played during this scene is a bit of a remix of the old cantina music from A New Hope, telling us right away that this place is definitely not the wretched hive of scum and villainy that you would expect. And I just want to throw this last little Easter egg in here as a really random and insignificant little Easter egg, that in the Mos Espa Cantina you can kinda see a guy that looks exactly like Cobb Vanth. Even his red scarf is the same. It makes a whole ton of sense for him to still be around honestly, but I doubt this will have anything to do with the story. Just a cool little detail to make the world feel lived in. You can also see a Kyuzo outside, the same species as Embo, and an assortment of other species in the background. Always cool to see, and Embo definitely needs to show up in this series. He's a bounty hunter, and this is the show of bounty hunters. Immediately after this, as Boba and Fennec are leaving the Mos Espa Cantina, they are ambushed by a group of savage, red-clothed assassins, hoping to embarrass Lord Fett and his claim to the throne. A huge brawl then breaks out across the streets of the city, with Fennec giving chase and eventually catching one of the mysterious fighters. Now, this is pretty much the major cliffhanger of the show, even though it wasn't played up that much in the actual episode. I think next episode we're going to find out who this Red Clan really is and why they will pose such a major threat to Boba's reign. My money is on Crimson Dawn right now, considering their theme is literally in the Book of Boba Fett title theme, and they're a band of ruthless murderers, so they'd be the ones to contest Boba if anyone. Meanwhile, Boba is forced to immediately rush back to the Bacta tank as his previous injuries re-emerge and cause him great struggle. This is quite surprising honestly, as there was no sign that Boba was reliant on the Bacta tank in The Mandalorian Season 2, but I guess this beating was the biggest Boba had received since the Tuskens. This sends him right back into painful flashbacks where he is forced to dig for water for his Tusken overseers, and even sees a mysterious homestead being vandalized by a group of gangsters with an ominous symbol. This will probably play a major role in the upcoming Underworld feud, and probably represents one of Boba Fett's soon-to-be fierce rivals. So let me know in the comments which Criminal Syndicate's logo you think this might be. The process of digging is long and arduous, but in the middle of it, the Rodian uncovers a massive beast which ferociously emerges from the sand and attacks the group. Eventually, Boba manages to overwhelm the four-armed beast and strangle it with his chains, allowing his overseer to return the head of the creature to the clan. This is a completely new creature for Tatooine, so it's really cool to see them branching out from the typical few Tatooine creatures. This whole saga makes the Tuskens gain immense respect for the grizzled bounty hunter, and he is very soon welcomed into the clan as a strong and fierce warrior. And that's about where it ends off. Let me know what you thought of the episode down below, and remember to hit the subscribe button for more. Also, leave a like while you're down there. Thanks so much.